So, hello everyone, and welcome to 22nd Guwahati MuleSoft Meetup. The topic for our today's discussion is Mule standalone server setup and on-prem deployment. So, before we start, some safe harbor statements. So, both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose only. Organizer or presenter do not hold any responsibility that same solution will work for your business requirement. This presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. Some housekeeping. So as we are recording the session, so the recording will be available in the meetup page within 24 hours, even before than 24 hours. Okay, in 2-3 hours, I will be uploading that. So if you have any questions regarding to the topic, you can unmute and discuss that. Anything which is off the topic, at the end we will have time. Okay, we will have a Q&A session, and there we can discuss regarding anything which we have. I will be it will be happy to help, and anyone who want to help anyone, please, we can help them, we can answer that. Once the meetup is done, you will be getting a feedback form, so I will request you to fill up that form and give your feedback for the meetup, and also suggest like if you need to have any other topic in the coming months or in the coming meetups, so that it will help us to make the meetups more better and provide more learning sessions to all. So coming up to my introduction, so I'm the organizer and also the speaker for Guwahati Meetup for today. Okay, so I organize. I'm a leader for Guwahati and Lucknow group. I'm a MuleSoft ambassador. I'm a frequent speaker. I'm a certified developer and architect for MuleSoft. I have a total of 9+ years of experience and 7+ in MuleSoft. I am MuleSoft Industry and GTM champion. I have few other certifications in Salesforce, Solace, Talbumi, and GCP. I write technical blogs, create technical videos, and I own a patent for developing a portable washing machine. So let's start with our agenda. So what we are going to cover is what are the different deployment options we have in MuleSoft. Okay. What is a standalone server? How we configure that for Mac server or Windows, Unix, Linux? What are the different server commands? So what is license? Like if you want to have a server, if you want to install a server and run that, you need an enterprise license. So how you set that up? What is clustering? That is used for high availability. Shared resources, the domain project thing, how we create a domain project, how we develop that and deploy that. Because when it comes to a hybrid deployment or on-prem deployment, you might have heard mostly on like we need to have a domain project or we need to deploy a domain project. So what is that? And everything what we are discussing, we will be having a demo of that. So first, quickly, I will go through the theory just to make you agenda clear, like what we are going to do, and then the complete thing I will be showing in the demo. So any question till now, like are you clear with the agenda, what we are going to do? I won't be able to just see the screen, so maybe if anyone can say yes or no, or help me with the moderation, it will be appreciated.
Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. So deployment options. Okay, so you might have read about like there are different deployment models we have in or options we have in MuleSoft today. Okay, in your anypoint platform when you do so, it is Cloud 2.0, Cloud Hub, anypoint platform, private cloud edition, or runtime fabric, or the hybrid deployment. Okay, so mostly you might have came across the cloud deployment, maybe with Cloud Hub 1 or Cloud Hub 2.0. But what is hybrid deployment? What we do in that? So in that, what happens is, so in Mule platform, we have two different things. One is the control plane and one is the runtime plane. So when we say hybrid deployment, so in that we use the anypoint platform runtime to create a server. So the server is like a server in your local system. Okay, you are creating your own system, you are creating your own server where you want to deploy the code, but you are doing that using the anypoint platform runtime manager to deploy the code from runtime manager to your server, so that anything which is need to be controlled will be controlled from anypoint platform, like the control panel things, API manager, policy, security, all those will be managed from your runtime, from your platform. But the server capabilities, like maintaining the server, the patches, or anything which you want to own, okay, which you don't want to put things on cloud due to some security reasons, because there are some organization or domains where we don't follow like putting everything on cloud. We don't follow that. We don't agree with that, and we say like, okay, we want to have our own server where we want to keep our things in line to our own server and keep it private, not exposing everything on cloud. So anyone from the attendee or from the team can tell me like what all would be that domain or projects where we can see like the use of hybrid deployment. Anyone, just give a try. Like we are all are here for learning, so just give a try. Like you think what would be the case where we can use for hybrid? Yep,
Banking domain.
absolutely right. Banking or financial domain. Any other?
Retail and merchandising.
Merchandising. Okay, correct. So there are like the most common what we talk about is the banking domain where security is a major thing for that. Okay, a major aspect is security. Like you are dealing with finance, you are dealing with money, you don't want to mess up things over there, right? So you believe that having your own server is going to have more security and keeping it under the hood so that you're not exposing everything. So that is where you are doing that. Again, there are some projects where we can have some legacy system, and the organization decide, okay, we don't want to expose it directly on cloud, we don't want to open the ports for public, and we want to keep our own server and we want to deploy that. So that these are the options or conditions or projects where we are using the hybrid deployment model. Okay, so now how you set up that? So first of all, you need to download that. Okay, you need to download the server from the Mule link. Okay, this is the link where you can go and you can select the standalone server. You can download that, you can unzip that. Okay, then there is a folder inside it, a bin folder, which you need to open in a command prompt. Then you need to go to your anypoint platform. In that, you need to go to your runtime manager server. Then there is an option for add server, okay, which you can see over here. In that, dialog box will window a box will pop up where you can give the name of your server, whatever you want to configure. You will get a command. You need to use that command and put it in your uh, command prompt or terminal, okay, where you have opened your bin folder. Okay, then for Mac, the command which we are getting, we are directly putting that up, like you can see over here. You can directly put that up. Once that is done, you will see a command saying that, okay, configuration has been saved successfully. There can be one error with Mac, which I will show you, okay, regarding the wrapper, which you need to unblock. Okay, for Windows, the same setup, the command which we are getting, we need to use the same command. Just one thing we need to see over here is there was a dot slash. Okay, when you get the command, there is a dot slash which you are getting. So this will work in your Mac, Unix, Linux, but for Windows you need to put it without that, without dot slash. Okay, again the same thing, when you put the command, okay, the server will get created in any point platform. You will see a message over here. Okay, and then there is a Mule install command. I will talk about that. So the Mule install command, yeah, anyone have any question?
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
The command, what is there given? Is
yeah.
it a unique command given by the MuleSoft directly?
Yes, yes. So every time you try to register a server, this will be a unique because you will get a key over here. Okay. So maybe your anypoint platform is MFA enabled, or like you have some restrictions over there. This command is directly used and it will directly create the server. Okay, so like if you know about the concept of connected app, like when we are doing deployments from CI/CD or from command line to do the Maven deployment, we need to have some connected app credentials in order to connect. But in this case, we don't need to have that. So simply this command is going to help you to create the server in anypoint platform. Okay.
Yeah, please go. Okay, so thank
Yeah,
you.
fine. So this is for Mac. Okay. Uh, Sorry, this is for Windows, where again you are putting that command. Okay, you are creating two servers over here. One is for Mac, one is for Windows. Okay, and this Mule install, this you apply to your root server. So you can have one root server where you do Mule install, where the server instance is installed into your Java. So that server you works as a root server. Okay, then these are the commands, the major commands what we are using, like to start the server, to stop the server, to restart, to check the status of your server, whether it is running or not running. Okay, to dump the log, to see the console. uh, the install I talk about, like if you want to install the instance in your Java for your Windows or Mac. And remove is removing the instance what you have installed. Okay. License, like to register your server and to make your server work, you need to have license which you need to install in both your production and non-production thing. So for me, I already have that license, but there is a several step. Okay, whenever you download a server and you open that up, so in the config folder there will be a default license. You need to remove that and you need to put the license what you get from MuleSoft. Like you need to have a license, like you are allowed to create a server for your subscription what you have taken. So you need to put that license, and then you can see like the license or certification what you have installed, how till what date it is validated. Okay, you can see in the dashboard, and I will be showing you that. Then clustering. Okay, so now we were talking about the different way of creating the servers, like from Windows or Mac, and what are the commands. So what is clustering and why we need clustering? So anyone would like to give their thoughts on that? What is clustering and why would need that? Anyone? No? Okay. So think it like this. So in Cloud Hub, like we have a scalability process. Like for again, like if depending on the subscription, we have some option called auto scalability. Okay. So what is scalability? Scalability is like when you do a vertical or a horizontal changes, like changing your vcode and workers with respect to uh, the application what you have, like how much memory you want to give to that application or how much worker you want to give. Okay, now suppose like you are giving two workers, so if one worker is down, the second worker is going to work and keep your application running. Okay, so the same way when we are doing on-prem deployment, so we are creating our own server and we are maintaining everything. So what if you have only one server and due to some reason the server is down, so your complete application is stopped. Whatever is deployed on your domain, everything is stopped, right? You are losing business over there. Okay, so that is a risky thing. So there's the concept of clustering comes, where you are creating more than one servers and you are clustering that together, saying that okay, for my particular deployment, for on-prem deployment, I have two servers, I have two nodes. I am clubbing that together so that if any one of the node is down, the other node is going to take care of my inputs, the requests which I am getting, right? So that's what clustering, like providing high availability so that if one node is down, your complete application is not down, but your application is running and you're not losing your business over there. Okay, so this is one screenshot, like I have got two servers over here, so I have clustered that. Okay, and we will discuss about that as well. Then come the resources, the domain project. Okay, so whenever we do a on-prem deployment, so it's a good practice, we can say. Okay, it's not a mandatory thing, but a practice where we should have a domain project and we should create all our application under that domain. Okay, collectively, and then deploying the domain and deploying the application. We can also deploy applications as a cloud applications, like a known domain project. A simple step like how you create a cloud project, like you go to your studio, you create a new project, you do your things and you deploy to cloud. The same application can be deployed on-prem, can be deployed, but the drawback over here, or the limitations I can say, is the number of applications you are deploying without a domain. You need to have that number of ports, because if you have ever worked in your studio where you are trying to deploy two different non-domain applications with the same port, it will be giving you an error of address already bind. So you cannot run two different application in your local with the same port. Okay, you can do that on cloud, that's fine, but in your server you cannot do in your local. So your on-prem deployment, your servers are your local systems. So when you say you are deploying the codes on the same port in the servers, in the cluster, it is not going to work saying that address is already bind. So you need to have a dedicated port either, or you need to maintain different ports if you don't deploy a domain. So maintaining different ports can be a pain. Okay. And also, like, suppose if you want to apply some proxies, okay, which is applicable only to one particular port, in that case you are unable to use the proxies because you have got several ports. So what domain project works, how it works is, a domain project can be treated as a central repository kind of thing, where you can have all your common functionality, your common dependencies, your common ports, and all the different application can bind to that domain project. So if you are defining the port in your domain project, you don't need to define that additionally in your applications. It will be taking it from the domain project. So you have one single port for several different applications which will be running in that under that domain project, and you need to maintain only one port. Okay. So that's where the domain project or shared resource concept comes in. Okay. So now we have done our theory things. Let's see all of this as a demo. So before I start, do we have any question?
One question.
Yeah.
Can we have this domain on cloud?
No, we don't have a direct concept of domain on cloud, but we have something called parent POM or BOM thing. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't have a concept of domain directly on cloud. There are several different ways again to handle that out, but not as a domain.
In on-premises, the domain is usually mainly for connections, common configurations we can configure
Right,
in the domain.
right,
So
right,
similarly, in the cloud, if you have multiple projects at the same configurations,
right.
yeah, you are telling some other ways.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
there
Maybe.
are master POM and BOM thing, or you can have some vault kind of thing where you can store your credentials if they are same or something like that. Okay, but not directly as a domain.
Is
Okay,
applicable only for on-premise.
it's applicable for on-premise,
Okay,
right?
thank you.
Okay, so now let's start with step by step what we have discussed. So how you can create a server is, first, to download a server, you can just Google it, like download Mule Standalone. You can go to this link. This is your same link where you go and download your Anypoint Studio, okay, and the code builder thing. So here you can see there is an option for Mule Standalone, okay, which I already have. So you can click this. You can give all the required, like you need it for Windows or Mac, whatever operating system you have, what version you need, latest or previous one. You can fill all the details, click on download. So you will get a link in your email, and from the email you can download that server. So here I have got this. Okay, this is my server which I have unzipped. Inside server I have got different folders. So this is the bin folder is what required when we need to set up the server. Then we have got the config where we have all the configurations files, the license and wrapper, everything what we need. Okay, domain folder where we are going to keep our domain project. Okay, apps, this is empty now. So whenever you deploy an app from runtime, you can see you will the app is getting present over here. Okay, I will show you that. Fine. So this is our server. So we can open our bean folder. Okay, so now let go to our Anypoint platform. So in Anypoint platform, when you log in, you need to go to your runtime manager. Okay, so in runtime manager, you will see there is an option for server. So you go to your server. So there is an option for add server. Once you click this, you will be getting an option like this. So as this is a corporate one, so I have some security restrictions, so I cannot do that. But this is how you will get it. You need to just fill a name for your server and then copy the command. Once you do that, just come to your this terminal. The bin folder is already opened. You need to paste that. That's it for Mac. For Windows, you need to remove the dot slash. You need to remove this dot slash. Okay, uh, like this. Okay, you need to remove that. Dot slash is not going to work in Windows. Once you do that, you are going to see like it is successfully configured. Okay. Next, so I have already created my window. I have already created and it is running. I have created for my Mac, but it is not running. So we will see in this example, like in this demo, we will see, we will run it. Okay, fine. So now what I will do is I will try to do a Mule install. Already I have installed that in my root in my Windows, so it will not going to work over here, but I wanted to show you like the error, what we can get and how to resolve it. Okay, fine. So you may get an error saying that we are unable to open or run that. So what you need to do is you need to go to your privacy setting, and here you will see this option where you need to allow this. Okay, once you allow this, you will be able to run. Okay, I will do it again. Open. Okay, so now it has allowed me to set up the server. Okay, but still the server is not running. What I need to do is I need to keep a put a command saying mule start. Okay, so see, this is initializing and this is starting. So now you will see this is going to start. You just need to give few minutes to it to get started. Okay, it is still running to make it start. Meanwhile, I will close this. Okay, see, now it is connected. Okay, so it is connected and it will run. So it started running. So now your Mule server are created. So I was talking about license, right? License and certification. So you can see like my license for this server setup is till 8th of July 2024 only. Okay, so I need to renew my license after that. Okay, so for to do that for your production and non-production, you need to have the license thing. Okay, you need to install the license. So you can ask your client to get it. Okay, and that is just a simple command what you do to uh, to install the license. Okay, Mule install license, that's it. And you need to have that file in the bin folder. So yeah, in the config folder, sorry. Okay, you need to keep that. So my server has started. What I need now? Okay, so now if I try to deploy any application over here. Okay, so what I can do is I can go to application, I can click to deploy application. Okay, I can choose any name, and here in this option I can see my hybrid is there and I have got both the server. Okay, so now we have not done the clustering. This is individual server. So if you deploy any application to any of the server, it will be remaining in that server. Okay, it will work on that server. Fine. But what we will do is we will create cluster because we need to have high availability. Okay, so how we create a cluster? So you will see there are options. Okay, so there is one option, group and cluster. So what's the difference? So when we do a group means both the server will don't know what are the servers the servers what they are going to have in a group. Okay, so they are isolated with each other, they don't know like what are the server they have. But when we do cluster, the cluster exactly know like what servers we have, which server I am connected with, like what are the different server we have in that cluster. They will know about each other. So that is what going to help you when you are going to have the high availability things, because the server need to know like what are the different servers and which one is down, which one is up, so that if anyone fails, the other need to handle all the requests, right? So we will be giving a name, say server demo cluster. This is the name which I'm giving. Now again, we have two different options over here, unicast or multicast. So when we say unicast, that means your different server, your servers are in different network. Okay, your networks are not same. It is a different network. So for that, you need to define the IP address. Okay, so if you see, if you select this, you need to define IP address, because using this IP address, both the server are going to ping each other and keep on checking whether both are working or not. Okay, or if anyone is down, or is there any issue with any of the server. So you need to define an IP for that, because it is on different networks. That is unicast. Multicast, both your servers are in the same network. Okay, so for my case, I am in the same network, so I will be using multicast. Okay, and internally they will keep on pinging each other to check if all the clusters are working fine or not. Okay, and simply create the cluster. So the cluster will start. Okay, so it will disconnect, but it will start again. Okay, so meanwhile the cluster is getting started, let's talk about the domain project, like how we create that. Okay, till now everything is clear. Anyone have any question?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah.
We can use service stop and start, right? Windows
Right.
service
Right.
instead of starting directly from the Mule start. So we can configure through Windows services, right?
Windows services, I didn't get you, like what you mean.
Services is there now in Windows.
Okay, from services, like see, you need to open this in your command prompt, right? The bin
Yes.
folder need to be there, and you need to give the command from that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's why we use that, and we need to start or stop it from there.
Okay.
Okay, then Krishna, is the deployment process for domain APIs different from other APIs? Yes, for domain project we don't use CI/CD or other thing. We put it manually in the server, and I will show you. Okay.
Yes,
uh,
sorry, Abhilash, like one more thing,
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Can we here while you are creating cluster, you are concatenating two different servers into one cluster.
Cluster.
Like, can
Yes.
we have a flexibility to divide one server into two different parts to create a cluster so that the API can be deployed in two different servers like that?
Like you don't want to create cluster and you want to deploy in the servers, you are saying that.
Yeah, yeah. In the same server, I wanted to create two different parts so that to deploy the same application into two different parts of the same server. Is it possible?
No, I didn't get you. Like when you say same server, so like you have got, say you have got server 1 and server 2, Mac and Windows. Okay, so now you want to deploy it on Windows or Mac?
No, I want to divide Mac into two different parts. Is there?
Okay, okay, no, 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 we don't do that. Like dividing the server into more different servers, you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we don't do that. That's a one thing. We can cluster that into same cluster, or if suppose we have got different four different servers, we want to create one cluster for two and one cluster for the other two. That is something what we can do. But dividing one server to multiple, like I haven't seen that ever. No.
In that case, in the real time, like to create a cluster, what are the organization they want to create a cluster? They will be having two different servers.
They will be have multiple. See, cluster can be made when you have more than one servers. Okay, if you have only one server, why you will be going with creating a cluster? Okay, that is anyhow going to work alone only, right?
Then, small question, Abhishek.
Yeah.
You have two servers in the same one cluster, let's take
Right.
two different servers, right?
Right.
And
Right.
your application is deploying into both the servers, right? In that case,
Yes, it will
when you
deploy in both the servers.
and when the client is giving a request, the request will go to which server in that case? I mean, who will decide?
Your URL will be same. So now you can see there is a two different nodes we have, right?
Correct.
So there is a primary node. So this star means primary. So
Oh,
this is
okay.
the main node now. But
Okay.
this keep on fluctuating. So the request will go to which server or which nodes. It is
Mhm.
decided internally within these servers.
Is there any load balancer coming into the picture in this case?
Uh,
Internally dedicated load balancer?
for this one, they do it by themselves, but I think
Manually.
yes, we can have some there as well. But yeah, it keep on pinging each other and keep on decide by themselves itself. Okay,
Okay.
like where the load should go, and they decide it among themselves.
Okay. My question was like how it will be, I mean, maybe internally how it is deciding. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. How worker is different from clustering node in Cloud Hub? We can deploy our same application to two workers. So in case if one Then it will automatically start application on another worker without download. So what are the additional features and benefit we are getting in Cloud 2? Okay, so Cloud 2, maybe we can discuss at the later point, like what benefits we have. But Cloud 2 is again like we can say on the concept of RTF, container based thing. Okay, where we have got now replicas and workers, replicas and vcos. Okay, but Ritvik will discuss about that. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
just one last thing.
Yeah.
As per my understanding, as we are creating cluster here, we didn't have a flexibility to do the scaling again. My understanding was not wrong.
See, when we are providing clustering, so we are providing scalability in one way we can see the memory is what the server memory you have, that will be decided over there. Okay, it will be maintained over there. So you are not changing your memory what you can do in cloud. But for workers or clustering, what we are doing, so now suppose I have two different cluster over here, so I giving two workers, we can say, in cloud term. So if anyone fails, the other will take care of that. So if we want to have more availability, if we want to add more nodes to that, we will add more servers and we will add that to the cluster to provide more workers. That way we can maintain it. But that is again depends on us. That is a manual thing which we need to do if we want to have more workers for our applications. So like generally in production, I have seen like organization use 4 different servers for high availability. Okay, because they don't want to take any chance. I hope that clear your doubt.
Yeah, thanks. Abhi.
Okay, so our cluster is ready. So now what we need to do is we need to have a domain project and we need to have a application for that. Okay, so now let's go to our Anypoint Studio and create a domain project and an application attached to that. So how we do that is again a normal process. Right click on your package explorer, new, go to Mule domain project. Okay, so once you do that, give a name. So I will give say domain project. Okay, you can give whatever name you want as per your organization standard. So in domain project, only a configuration file is created. You don't create any implementation or interface file or any YAML, nothing. Just a configuration file where you keep the configurations for your applications what you want. Okay, so to identify whether it's a domain project or not, you can see the color of this. Like for your Mule application, it's blue in color, but for your domain, it's different. That is one way to identify that. Again, you will see only a configuration file over here, which is this. Okay, now in this, I want to have a HTTP. Okay, so I need to have an HTTP. So let's get it, manage module. So I will download it from my Exchange. HTTP. So this is my connector config. I will download it. Finish.
One request from my side, Abhishek, if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
yeah.
How to pass the runtime arguments for an application if you are deploying through domain? Is it possible?
Through domain.
Yeah, if I'm so for example, let's take there is a database application where
Uh-huh.
I want to pass the runtime argument to choose the file from the configuration properties. I have two files, dev and prod.
Okay.
So I want to deploy that application with the help of a domain project. The connection details I will be giving in the domain,
Right.
and I want to deploy that application in local,
Uh,
but I want to pass that as a runtime argument, the file name through a
okay.
runtime argument. Generally in cloud up, you know that we will be
Right.
passing
Right. We can
properties,
pass that. Correct.
but
Uh,
in
yes. So for that, like
or else if
yeah.
not domains in standalone deployment strategy, how we can pass the runtime arguments.
So see here also like you have got POM, like right. So you can have define variables over here in the POM, or for domain projects, what we have a config, a wrapper config file. Okay, for standalone, where you can define the common properties like what we do. Like for cloud, we create a common YAML, right, where you can put our properties, or from the Maven when we are doing our CI/CD, we pass it from there, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So the same way, when we are doing the domain, if we want to do that, if we want to maintain that, we can have our common properties in the wrapper config, where you
Wrapper.
can,
Wrapper. Yes. In the
in the
wrapper.
yes, in the wrapper you can define that. You can have a variable over here, and you can define that variable in your wrapper. So that way it will work.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. So I have got my HTTP, and I can see the dependency over here. Now I will configure that. So I got my listener. So I will do my listener config. So I'm doing it on 8081. Okay. So I will do okay. Fine, I got my listener. Okay, and I will save it. So I have created my domain project. Likewise, if we want to keep anything more common to our domain project, we can do that. Any configuration, any common configurations, or the dependency what we talked about. If we want to create keep it common to our domain project, saying that okay, same dependency is getting used by different projects. So why to keep it over there? I want to keep it in my domain. We can do that, like the HTTP listener I did. Sorry. Now let's create an application and attach that to the domain. So this will be the normal way, just your Mule project. Okay, give a name, say on-prem, okay, and finish. So this will create a normal application, what we do for our Cloud Hub. Now we need to attach it to our domain project. So now if you see the POM, what dependency we have? We have got HTTP connector and socket by default over here. Okay, but this dependency we already have in our domain. Okay, so what will happen if we keep both? Okay, we'll see that, but before that, let's connect it to our domain project. How we do it? Just right click on your application name, go to properties, then go to Mule project. Okay, this option, you will see there is an option for domain. So it is like all your applications, your cloud application use a default domain. Okay, but we need to keep a domain project for this. So we will attach to the domain what we have created. Okay, we'll apply and close. So when this is done, so you will see one thing, you got a prefix with, sorry, the suffix with the domain project name, which indicates, okay, it is attached to a domain project, which is this. Also in POM, the dependency has been created, this one. There is a dependency created from this. Now, we have talked about, like, we have the HTTP, correct? We have the HTTP configurations over here. So you will not get an error, but you will see a warning saying that the configuration is already present and there is a conflict. Okay, you will see this one. So what we can do is we can simply remove this dependency because we are already getting it from our domain. And once we do that, the warning will be waved off. Okay, see. Now let's create our application. Let's create a simple flow. So I will take an HTTP listener. Okay.
Warnings can be ignored in Mule 4, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, we can ignore that. Okay. I will keep the endpoint as server, and I will just put a data wave, just uh, giving a small message. Okay. Saying test server. Okay. In JSON. That's it. Okay. So now we will run this. So to run, we can see the run config. Okay, so as this application is under your domain, so if you click on the domain, it is going to select all the project which will be under domain. And if you want to select only selective application under that domain, then you need to put the selection beside that application which we want to select. Okay, we will run this. Meanwhile, it is deploying. Anyone have any question? Uh, Global error handling we can keep uh, in our domain. Okay, what I understand. Even like for cloud also we can have some common error handling, like which will be again added as a dependency for our cloud project. Yes, Sujat, only for common connection, not for common logics, right? But for error handling, if it is a standard thing and if you want to keep, then I guess we can have uh, some logics over there.
In domain, is it possible to
In
have
domain,
this? I don't think so, if I'm not wrong.
let me see. We can have global. Oh, yeah, right. We cannot. Correct. We don't have the option only to create any error handling. Thank you for correcting that. Yes. No, this is only for configurations and dependencies. We can create an external, like a different dependency, put it on Exchange and use that if you want to keep anything common. Okay, so my deployment is done. Now I will run it. So our localhost 8081 port was there, server, and this is giving me my data which I want. Okay, so my application is running. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will deploy the domain in our server and we'll deploy the application on our cluster. Okay, so I'm stopping this. So I already have my domain and application. So first, for domain we need to do it manually. We just need to copy the jar what we have for the domain. To create the jar, just right click on your application, export. Okay, and then select like where you want to create that jar, and that will be created. Okay, you just need to give a location. Same for your application. Okay, now I have my domain. So what where I need to do put is I need to put it in the domain folder inside my server. So by default there will be a default domain. Okay, we don't need that, so we will get rid of this and we will put our jar over here. So it will automatically unjar it. We don't need to do anything. Okay, so the same domain is there in my Windows server. Okay, I have already put it over there. So in both the server we need to have the domain. Okay, but for application, you are as we are doing it directly from the runtime, we don't need to put it separately in both the server. It can go in the cluster. Okay, so the domain project is in place. What we will do now is we will create our application now. Okay, so now earlier we have seen when we don't have any cluster, we can see both the cluster over there. Okay, now sorry, both the server over there. Now we will see the cluster. It takes some time. Okay, let it update.
In that server, I think in the domains folder we required a default, if I'm not wrong.
Default, if you are not giving any domain, then by default your server is going to take a default project. Like suppose if I need to deploy a cloud application on-prem, like if I'm not creating any domain, so application is also using a default domain. Okay, so your domain project already creates a default domain project in that folder.
Okay, but
Okay, but
even if I have a domain, I think we
no,
require
no,
default. No.
you the default get deleted. You need to delete the default and you need to put your domain over there. Okay, okay, so now we will deploy our on-prem application to this cluster. Okay, if you want to provide any properties, you can provide here for the application. Okay, but you don't see anything for vCores or your workers. You cannot scale that. Now I will upload my application. So this is my application. Okay, let me name it as on-prem demo and deploy. And the deployment will be a little fast over here. Okay.
Yeah, Abhishek, even the in the real time, the domain deployment is the same like what you had shown now.
Yes, right.
Thanks, Abhishek.
Okay, so meanwhile let me delete the application which I created to show you like I'm not running anything from my local server from this studio. Whatever I'm doing is I'm doing it on the on-prem, like the server what we have created. Okay, so I'll simply delete this. right? Now our server is started. Okay, so as okay, this is getting started. Let's wait or refresh it. So as this is in our server, okay, and my server is in my system, so I can use localhost to call that as well. Okay, okay, let me, my window will start. Okay, make sure wherever your server is there, that particular machine is not in sleep or stop mode. Okay, because if that will happen, it is not going to run your applications. Okay, so that's what happen now with Windows, because my window system went on sleep, but I will enable it. Okay, it started. Okay, because I just started my system. So now let's run the Postman and see if we are going to get the data or not. Okay, see, I'm getting it. If you want, I can run this over here and we'll get the data. Okay, so this is coming from your server, from your deployment, what you have done. Okay, also you can use your server IP address instead of localhost to call that. Okay, so you have two different server. You can use the IP for those servers to call it, uh, call that application. But if you want to make it public, you need to have a proxy where you are going to configure that port and those IPs, and that will help you to open the domain, open the option for the public to call it from other system as well. Okay, then again, that is again a different uh, I will say configurations we need. Okay, using API manager and other thing. So we are not going in that part, but yeah, we can do that, and that's how we work. Now to see the logs, you will see like in your one more thing, the application, see earlier it was empty, and as I have deployed the application, you can see over here, you can see the logs for that. So this is my on-prem demo. Okay, so I don't have any logger, so it is not showing that, but you can see the log for this. For Mule Enterprise, you can see the logs what we have. Okay, for domain default, we don't have anything. This is our domain main. Okay, so this is the logs for this. So you can see all the logs over here, how you see in your console for cloud. You can see it over here in this way. Okay, all the logs, you can see it over here. And domain is already in place. You got the anchor file. So you have got the wrapper files over here where you can do your common configurations if you want. Okay. So this is how like you create the clusters. Okay, so what we have seen is like how to create the server. Okay, then how to create multiple servers, how to cluster that, how to create domain project, how to attach application with the domain, how to deploy the domain project, and how to deploy your application, then how you're running it, how you're getting the output. Okay, all that what we have seen over here. Like you can have CI/CD for your domain as well. Then again, that is a different aspect. That is a DevOps things what you can do. But you can deploy your on-prem application using CI/CD as well. How you do it for cloud. Okay, but for domain you need to do it manually, as far what I have seen till now. So that's all about our today's agenda.